All right, straight to the thumbnail. Do you think married people naturally start drifting from single friends, or is that a choice? Today we're diving into something people tiptoe around. Should married folks be spending real time with their single friends? Is it harmless fun, or does it open the door for confusion, temptation, or even resentment? Uh, let's get straight to it. Some married people cling to single friends because they're low maintenance emotionally. There's no accountability like a married friendship. So, what do you think about the fact that single friends tend to be low accountability? Is it any truth in that, or not, or it's subjective?
I think it has more to do with the value of the person in friendship. Like I think single, it can be. Would you say low?
Low maintenance friendships.
It can be, but it really depends on the person and the friendship type.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to. I think the reason a lot of people don't hang with single friends because there's no accountability. They're gonna do more encouraging of being dishonest, or I'm trying to think. Like a lot of times, single people will encourage the married person to be dishonest. They have no respect or boundaries for that marriage, and so that's why I think a lot of people who marry tend to drift away from those single friends.
What do you think about single friends and exposing things that's going on within your marriage, confiding in single friends? Did I mean, and looking for advice, I guess. I mean, it's your friend, and so quite naturally, they're not just going to listen; they're going to also give input. And if you're talking about a marriage, there would be something that they wouldn't know anything about, because a marriage is not a relationship or a go together thing, a go together and relationship fake. A smooth pimp made it up long time ago. And so, what do you think about exposing your marriage and or seeking counsel from a single friend?
I think that's a danger zone. And the reason I say that is because, for one, I'm not big on exposing or confiding in folks about my marriage, whether they're single or not. I do believe that you need to take everything to God. But you do want a confidant. You do want someone that you can talk to. And so it just really, again, it goes on that person. I'm not big on it because if you share certain stuff with them, like I was just saying, they tend to try to encourage. They want, I mean, sometimes there's some underlying issues, like there's competition or they're very competitive or could be jealousy. It could be a lot of different things. So when you're telling this person this stuff about your marriage, they're going to probably use that to encourage you to do other stuff. So you want to be careful with what you expose. And you want to also be careful of what not the seeking that advice, because 9 out of 10, someone that's single is going to, misery loves company. I mean, I'm not saying everyone that's single is miserable, but misery do loves company. And so a lot of times, 9% out of 10 of people that are single, they're going to encourage you to be single too, to join them, to join on that bandwagon.
Okay, let's move forward and let's get some pros of having single friends while you're married. Now, one pro is they keep you from losing your edge. A lot of married people get stuck in routines. Single friends often still chase dreams hard, stay fly, and keep up with what's current. So married people do fall into routine. And I think that would be a pro of having a single friend as far as keeping your edge. But me as a male, a part of my edge was talking to ladies. So I don't want to keep my edge. Because I don't mean no harm, but that's what, that was a part of my edge as a single man. See, as a single man, a part of my edge, I'm rounding off now. I'm rounding soft. I ain't hollering at, I don't even know how to holler at nobody no more. You see what I'm saying? But if I'm with my single friends, do I, what I'm saying, go back into that or not?
I think it's more about discipline.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I can go out with my single friends, right? I can encourage them. I can be that positive influence. Maybe we just needed a girls' day or something of that nature. There I don't see nothing wrong with it. And again, I don't believe that all single friends are toxic. I think there's toxic people, and the percentage of those toxic people when it comes to married relationships or single relationships, it'd be the single people usually encouraging the marriage, because you have, like you said, you don't want to fall back in certain behaviors and actions that you did as a single person. You have to have that respect and discipline. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have a single friend and go out with that single friend. It's about your discipline.
I think it's a wonderful thing, and I don't think it's a toxic of any single male or any single female to a part of their edge to be, she put it on tonight so she could attract them could ask for her number or Instagram, IG, however it's popping off now. Or he put it on and he made sure to smell right, and he was talking and sharpening up his blade at the club tonight because he was a single guy. Now, if you as a married guy and or a married woman want to step out with your single friend who got edge, because see, my friends was bad. You see, my single friends was bad. Ain't none of them single no more. But all my single friends was bad. And so they edge was, and it's not toxic, enjoying being single and being in the dating pool and the dating market and sharpening up their dating blades, male and or female. So I feel what you were saying, but I don't think just because your single friends keeping their edge up because they're single, not doing anything wrong and or toxic. And to what you were saying, if they're able to influence you, then you're a low vibrational, weak-minded person anyway. You see what I'm saying? And what type of foundation is your marriage standing on if single people can encourage you, influence you in any manner to go against your marriage? You know what I'm saying? I thought me and you already knew that you know what I'm saying? We're trying to help people.
We are definitely trying to help people, but I think the issue is when it comes to, and I hate to say it like this, but when it comes to the miserable single friends,
okay.
and speaking from a woman perspective, the friends that's crashing out. I'm just being honest. You've been waiting and now, your standards was here and now you keep dropping them. And now, it's hard for you to receive from me because I'm married now. So I'm not even in the pool. So it's easy, as I hear that a lot. It's easy for you to say that because you're not out here dating, but it's that type of stuff.
But you still fine though, baby. But they still want to go together with you. I'm talking about niggas want to go with you.
But I'm just saying from the perspective of single friends that they don't want to take that advice from you. So now they're crashing out. They're they're lowering their standards. They're doing things that they typically wouldn't have done because now, and I mean, you just really want to get into it. I just feel like once you get to a certain age as a woman, your options becomes fewer. Where when a man, it doesn't really matter with the man. This is just my personal opinion. I have seen where women, as they get older, they lower their values and their standards because their options are fewer. Now you only even going to be, a smash. What's the new terms? I don't know, but somebody that they just sleeping with. Nobody's really looking for a long term. Yeah, they're looking for that or compared to a man as he gets older in certain ages, he still has a full option. He has his age group, he has younger, he has he can do more than what a woman can do, and that's just the truth.
Especially if that male is getting to the bag and building and growing himself.
So it's important, it's important to really take care of yourself and try to get all the advice and try to set those standards. And I just think it's more of that. You have to be careful with the type of people that are single that you're dealing with. You don't want to deal with those type of people who are, as I mentioned, crashing out, making poor decisions. You don't want those because those are the ones that are going to give you that bad advice. Those are the ones that are going to try to get you to do stuff that you shouldn't. And yes, it's true enough. No one can influence you on doing anything. You should have that discipline, but who wants to be out with somebody who's trying to constantly get you to do something?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think that was a great sidebar that side street that we went down as far as age and standards being lowered by some of your single friends, and you said that you were speaking specifically on women. So I thought that was good. But let's move forward. Single friends may remind you of the person that you were before you took on titles, and 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 the titles consume your identity, such as husband or wife. Now, I want to know, another side street we're going to go down. How important is it to not just be consumed by the title wife, but how important is it to also remain Jernari, Jen, Regina's daughter, Braxton's
Gigi.
mother, Gigi, you see what I'm saying? How important is it to also have that balance in your life as a married person? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be consumed by just husband.
Hmm.
But I ain't gonna lie, I want to be consumed by just husband. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think it's so easy to get caught up into being, and you asked for my wife, but I think when you have a
Yeah.
spouse, you can get so caught up into their lifestyle. It's so important to have that balance because, for one, you should already have that identity, know, confident in who you are, already kind of know, how when you're young, when you're like younger in your 20s, you're still finding yourself. I feel like when you become a wife, you should already have found yourself. It makes it a lot easier. So when you do become a wife, you don't get caught up in just that because it's so easy to get caught up into what your husband doing, supporting your husband, being a good wife. It's so easy to get caught up in that. So you have to have the balance of who am I? And you have to know who you are before you even enter into that marriage, in my opinion. You have to have that identity. You have to know, hey, this is the person I am. This is the person I was. This is the person I'm willing. This part of me is what I'm willing to compromise to be with you energy. And if you don't have that before then, you would definitely lose yourself. And I've seen it with a lot of women. It's like you can tell like they and I think that's when that misery look like they don't look so happy in their marriage. It looks so controlling from one end to the other. Like you definitely should know who you are, be confident in who you are, set that boundary, have that balance so you don't lose it because it's so easy to get lost into it. And don't get me wrong, I love getting lost into my husband's world, but it's important for me to have my own world as well, that individual time, that Janari time, because I'm more than just Major's wife. I'm Braxton and CJ's mom, Regina's daughter. I am my Teresha, Sherry, Angela, all my sister. I'm a Shatar. I'm there. I'm a sister. So I need to be able to have that balance. And I think the only way you can get that is by knowing you before, don't wait till you get married to find out who you are.
Unfortunately, a lot of people do get married young and they don't find out who they are until they're in the marriage. Now, moving forward, another pro for single friends before we start kicking single friends' backs in. Uh, Now, do single friends give a perspective that married friends can't?
I think they can. I think it can be a good thing. I know I have sometimes when you're in the marriage, it's not easy. So when you have somebody on the outside looking in, it may be easier for them to point out something that they see than that you might not realize, especially if it's a healthy, like I said, it's all about perspective of that person, the mindset. So if you have somebody that's like, hey girl, this is what's for me. I have had moments where me and you might have had, what I'm saying, like just arguments hit the roof, right? And I have somebody on the outside to look in and there might be single and they'd be like, hey, this is what we have out here. You need to appreciate, and it makes you appreciate what you have. So I do think it can matter and it can count. On a good, it could be good or bad, just depending on the person.
I think that's a pro of having a single friend. I think a single friend I think a single friend might be more objective, especially a single friend who wants to be married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's what I'm
saying? A
saying.
single friend who has that, in their, in their future. I think they might give you an objective outside opinion. Yeah, but I'm not into telling anyone my business. I take it all to the Lord in prayer. That's just me. The hidden risks and red flags. Can single friends influence your marriage mindset?
I think, again, I don't think it's about the status of being single. It's about it's about the healthiness of the relationship of being single. So yes, they can help. Um, yeah, they can definitely help and give you a perspective. And like you said, especially those that are aiming towards marriage, that want to be married. And even if they're not, maybe they're a person that just want to be single. I do think they can help them, but it can also be a red flag. It's all about how toxic a person is and how healthy a person is when it comes to the mindset, whether they're single or married.
I think if you see your single friend freely moving around, flirting, not checking in, I think subconsciously it can bring discontent to you, which would be negative for your marriage. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. That's my perspective on that. But because it doesn't have to be a verbal thing, it can just be a lifestyle thing. You see what I'm saying? And then you are instantly, oh man, I used to move like that, man. Oh man, he coming down like Jordan in the, you feel me? And I used to move like that with the fadeaway and the lay and the Euro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if some of the guys who's dating should know what I'm talking about. When I Euro a lady, I had to Euro her, then lay. But yeah, I like seeing that, and that wouldn't sway me, and I don't think that would touch my subconscious. But I mean, it's a lot of low vibrational, weak minded people.
Well, I think it's all about knowing your weaknesses. Like, and what can, like, some stuff, okay, for example, you have people who have maybe an alcoholic, right? So if they have been an alcoholic, they're recovering alcoholic, you don't want to take them to a place where there's free alcohol and this and that. So you just have to know what's good for you, like for me, I don't want to go. I'm okay with going out. We can have brunch, we can have wine. I'm okay with just going and have a girls' day, but I don't want to go to the strip club anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do. So it's just all about the lifestyle or the mindset of you, and know your own weaknesses and what you can and can't tolerate.
Now, venting to single friends could shift your emotional balance, and they could become your emotional spouse. I know. I know. I know. This happens, babe, just because it's not something that's going on in your life. You see what I'm saying? Or something that's natural to you and where you from. I mean, people have single friends that they confide in throughout their entire marriage. Okay?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
a little all.
And they become their emotional spouse.
So there's no boundaries.
I told Sally stuff that I ain't even tell my wife.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's going on all day long. Yeah. I told Anthony stuff that I ain't never told my wife that I feel about her. Yeah. I ain't taken to the Lord in prayer and or to the person I had a grievance with, which would have been my wife. I didn't do that. Yeah, this happens. This happens every day. You didn't know that?
I'm
Oh
just big
man.
on, if there's something, I, even if it's hard, even if you feel like they might not be accepted, like when you're in marriage, you go to that person, you let them know how you feel, you let them, like, I don't mind, I tell you exactly how I feel, what bothers me, this and that, and y'all talk about it. Even if it's not at that moment, you let them know and get it out. You shouldn't be confined. I just don't think you should be getting emotional support from anybody else if y'all not doing it as a union to go get that support.
All right, I want to get one more question off, and then we're going to go into red flags from single friends. Uh, have you ever had to pull back from a friendship because it conflicted with your marriage?
Yes.
And what was that like? You don't have to go into details about the situation per se, but what was that? Was that a difficult thing? Is there something hard for people to do? Is that, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, sometimes it's not good. I had a person that literally told me that I didn't want to answer. I think we were doing something and I didn't want to answer the phone. I was enjoying you. We were dating at the time. We wasn't even married. And they kept calling. They said, well, you called the one time when I was this year, you need to answer the phone for me and stuff. It's like, hold on. I didn't make you answer the phone when I called. You could have set your boundaries like I'm setting boundaries. I've learned, and I can't. You can't make me feel bad that you didn't learn during that time, that type of stuff. So, you want to distance from that. Anytime somebody's always comparing, well, we didn't do that, or me and my husband, like my husband's not your husband, though. That's a totally different person. So why are we even talking about your husband when I come to you for any type of advice or to confide in you? Like, so yeah, you have to distance yourself from certain relationships, and it can be hard because friendships are relationships too. They're long term. They're like they become family, and it can be hard. But do what's best for you.
I think that was a wonderful answer. Now let's go straight into 3 not so obvious red flags from single friends. They always want to hang out with you without your spouse. Yeah. 2, they mock or question your marital decisions. And 3, they love to remind you of your past self before marriage, low key, trying to resurface the old you.
I have some too.
Go ahead. Some red flags?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
They disrespect your marriage. Either they're saying certain stuff, making fun of, or your choices or your commitment. That's a disrespect to your marriage. They drain you emotionally. Like they're always coming with their baggage and trying to, and you don't need that when you're in a marriage. You don't need to be drained emotionally. Or they're always competitive of what you got going on and trying to encourage you with dishonoring behavior and actions.
Those were good red flags. I think the first one coincided with my second one. Boundaries, balance, and maturity. What kind of boundaries should married people have with their single friends?
They definitely want to have a boundary where you have respect of your marriage. You want to have a boundary, but what you allow and not allow to go on because you're single, I'm not single. So certain things you're not just going to be able to do or come to my house and do because, boundaries. I would say those are two. And then you should have a boundary of what you confide into your single friend.
That's good. You can be close, but not clutch. The moment you emotionally depend on them for the moment that you depend on your single friends more than you depend on your spouse, that's a crack in the foundation of your marriage. That's a crack in the foundation of your marriage right there. Soon as you depend on your single friend one time more than you do your spouse, male or female, your marriage probably going down. That's probably the start of downhill. Yeah. Private details about your marriage, especially intimate things, should be off limits unless the friend is rooting for your marriage's success. Now, I like that, but we're going to remix it. It should be all way off limit. Intimacy should be all way off limit because now you telling Bob that you know what I'm saying, something about the bed and now it might be in Bob's mind. I don't mean no harm because see my mind bad. And or I'm a man and I feel like I know men and it's a lot lesser men than me. No shade to men. You know what I'm saying? Man, I ain't trying to sound like I'm braggadocious or nothing, but I feel like I'm a high level of a man. Not about no money or nothing like that. I don't got no money, okay? But I feel like I'm a man of integrity, dignity, self-respect, and self-control. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so since I feel like that about myself, I don't want to be in conversation about doing my wife and what me and my wife like and don't like in anything intimate. That's just me, period.
I don't think being intimate, like certain, like you said, if they're rooting for you, like it's not always about the bedroom. It could be the small things that we do that might be an encouragement to someone that's on the path looking for, and so it might, like we like to listen to this or that, those little intimate details. I don't think is bad, but anything, of course, regarding the bedroom intimacy should be off guard.
How much is too much time with your single friends? How much time is too much time?
I wouldn't. I guess it just depends on the person and the people and the relationships because you have married people whose spouse travels. And so, if you're traveling and I'm alone, then yeah, maybe my friend is single and she need to come. We have a girls' night, watch a movie or something. So I don't know how much time that would
Mhm.
be to say. I think it just depends on the person, the relationships, the marriages.
It is by case, by each case.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely.
I agree with that. And then as soon as you said that, you immediately made me think of a spouse that just work a lot.
Yeah, that
You know what I'm saying?
too.
There might be a lot of phone time on the, you know what I'm saying? And that's time as well, with your single friend. So, yeah, that's case by case basis right there. But I mean, I had to ask the question: should single friends be included in couples activities?
No.
Just flat out no.
No.
Just
I mean, this is the thing. When you well, for me, when I got married, I want to be around more couples. I want to be around more married people. I want to be around success and people who's been married longer to see how we can get to there. Because, I mean, we're just going to break it down. The enemy targets, if you're a Christian and you're a believer, the enemy targets marriages. He's going to hit, especially in those early years. So what you don't want to do is open yourself up for these single people to come in and give these advice or bring in temptation or make any type of regret or whatever the case may be. You don't want to leave room for any type move from the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So no, I definitely agree. If we're out and we got couples, why is your single friend with us?
I say no as well, but I just feel like they throw the vibe off. Like they're gonna eventually feel like a third wheel and or not be able to respect some marriage boundaries. So I say no as well too. But I thought that was a great question. And man, you hit it. But man, you was ready to tear that one right down, just flat out no.
Yeah, because I'm not big on people who are single that want to include themselves. Like, why do you want to come around me and my husband all the time? Like, that's to me a red flag, but that's something else.
All right, opposite sex friendships. Uh, How you feel about it? Period. Just once you hear that, is you with it or not?
Well, the first thing that came to mind, if it was pre-existing, you have female friends that you had friendships with before they were pre-existing. You introduced me to them. You let me know, hey, this is like my sister, this and that, and vice versa. I got a brother that's not my brother, so that's different. New friends, a new female friend, a new guy friend coming in. I'm not with that. I don't think that's cool. You have to have certain boundaries and respect. No,
Yeah.
no.
I'm just I don't want to sound like a chauvinist or anything like that. I just ain't with it. But
Mm-mm.
that's just me. I just ain't with it.
I'm with you.
I just ain't with it. I don't think nothing wrong with Bill text you and ask you this or that or the third from work or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be ugly towards Bill because he inboxed you or nothing from work. If you can help him answer the question, but I mean, have a sharp sword though with you now. Have a sharp sword with you.
I'm with
Okay, for a
you.
bill. Okay,
Hmm.
that's just my opinion and how you should handle opposite sex friends. Now, hey, man, I'm tender. Just like I seen a guy said he was showing it was a picture of how tender he was. It was him in a box of tenders, chicken tenders. It was him laying in a box of chicken tenders. He had shrunk himself down. I'm that tender. So I'm not afraid to say that there's one of my some I might need to even work on, whatever insecurity, whatever you want to call it, man. Y'all can talk about me bad, but I'm that tender, and I ain't with it.
It's just
You
certain
feel me?
things. Again, you don't want to allow the enemy to come in. So for me, I know, period, dealing with anyone of the opposite sex, there's a certain respect and certain boundaries I'm going to have. You're not going to be able to text or inbox me after a certain. Actually, when I got with my husband and I said I do. I just went on and just you don't even have access to me. Like anything from before him, friends, not friends, whatever, they don't even have access to me, like you're blocked. But if I'm going to have any type of conversation, I don't care if it's a church member, work person, whatever, there's going to be a certain boundary I'm going to set, and you're going to have a certain respect, but not only for me, but for my husband, period. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm insecure, but it's just certain things you just do and don't do. Y'all friends, but what we not going to do, and it's going to be X, Y, and Z.
All right, we got some real talk on that right there. It's risky, not because you're weak, but because nobody is bulletproof under the right circumstances and wrong emotional timing. Okay? Nobody's bulletproof. If your opposite sex friend doesn't respect your marriage or low-key competes with your spouse, go ahead and cut that on off. Go ahead and cut that on off and notify your spouse. And notify your spouse if you're a decent person. Go ahead and notify your spouse too, what's going on, how you feel that they might be disrespecting your marriage and or your husband and or your wife, okay? To wrap it up, what's one thing married people should remember before spending consistent time with a single friend?
Just be careful with what you. I'm big on going to God with all your issues or whatever within your marriage. Don't go to your single friend. Actually, don't go to no friends. Take it to God, but definitely not your single friends. And remember to set those boundaries and have that balance when spending time with them.
That's good. In closing, I have single friends aren't the problem. Lack of wisdom is.
Oh, that's good.
Your friend can be loyal to you and still be detrimental towards your marriage. So it's okay to, the word says abandon all. Now we're going to fight with the word or what? The word said abandon all. Okay? And so that's what I got to wrap it up with. And that's been major. And we want you guys to watch this video right here, like and subscribe.
That's major.